Hey everyone, it's Andrew here from PhotoBizX. Welcome to this training, this live training with Kim Hamblin. If you are unfamiliar with Kim, she had a very successful photography business. She opened her own studio. She had that for 12 years before selling it for a really tidy number. There's an interview all about that on PhotoBizX, the amount she sold it for and why she sold it. She then moved into coaching, which was always her plan. And I can tell you that numbers are her thing. While we were setting up this course, she was excited, way more excited than me about numbers every time we chatted. So this is going to be great. I've also spoken to one particular photographer that Kim's been teaching or coaching, and she's had phenomenal success since starting to work with Kim and focusing on her numbers. So Kim, I'm going to hand this over to you, and we can jump into it.
All right. Thanks so much, Andrew. You know, I've been geeking out about this. I was so excited when Andrew said that I could talk about numbers because I know that if you guys are like a lot of photographers, you probably, in most cases, either feel intimidated or a little bit resistant. Let me know in the chat if that is you, if you're like, oh, we're not quite sure about them, or if you love them. I know we had a couple of people saying they already do. So do track them. So today we are going to geek out. And what I'm going to do is I will try and go slow. If you've been around me, you know that when I get excited, I talk fast. So if I go too fast, slow me down. And this is a get it done. Okay, I'm going to do a short intro and I'm going to try to keep that to a few minutes. And then we're going to dive into that spreadsheet. And then we're going to walk you through how to use it, not just today to get some understanding, but actually to plan out at a really profitable 2026. So before I share my first slide, quick question, everybody just drop in the chat. Who here loves numbers? Like, just let me know, love or hate, love or hate. No judgment. Okay, love, love. Okay, yes. I'll listen to you. I think amazing. Okay, so let's go. We've got a few in the middle. Great, awesome. Okay, next question before we dive in. Who here loves money? Who wants more money? Me, yes, me. Awesome, cool. So you might be guessing that those two things are really, really closely related. The more you watch and control your numbers, the more money you will make. And today I'm going to show you how. So let me dive in and share a screen. And I will apologize in advance. We did try this before. I do have a backup plan if this doesn't share. So we'll give it a go. Let me know if you can see it. No, okay, didn't work. Okay, bear with me. I will do it the other way. Sorry, guys. I will share. Bear with me. Sorry. We did this before and had a little glitch, so I apologize for the little delay. I'm going to go old school and just share the actual link. All right, we'll do it this way. Cool bananas, this will work. Love numbers, not so good at technology.
So just,
Okay.
just while you're getting sorted there, Kim, if you've just come onto the call, don't forget to download the actual spreadsheet. If you go up through the chat, you'll find a link. I'll see if I can add it now for you as well in the chat. And that's what we're going to be working off in just a second. So Kim, yeah, we've got your screen. We're all good.
All right, yeah, sorry guys, it's not as sexy as I'd hoped, but hey, let's dive in. So obviously today we're talking all about knowing your numbers and how to create a profit plan in your business. And you know, I'm sort of obviously I work with a lot of photographers, and I know that for a lot of you, numbers sound about as boring as eat your vegetables, or in this case, kind of like the virtues of broccoli, as Andrew put in his email last night when he saw that. But I really want you to know that they can be super exciting when you think about how they will help you take control in your business, and they'll actually help you to create your dream business. It's not going to happen by accident. So today, I want you to walk away with absolute clarity on your numbers and the metrics that add up to success. Okay, and it's not as complicated as you might think. You're also going to leave today knowing that they really can be simple. My goal with everything is to simplify it all, and that you can create your dream business by tracking and measuring. The things we're going to cover today is what to track and how to track, and how simple that is, because I know that some people are like, oh my gosh, I don't want to get into the nitty gritty and make it complicated. You're going to learn to create a simple system that's going to make sure you stay on track. And it's about 20 minutes a month. I used to spend about 5 or 10 minutes a week, every Monday. So Metric Monday. You're going to learn how to use your numbers to predict and create deliberately the future you want. You're not just going to hope it shows up. You're going to make it show up. You're going to learn the metrics that matter for better marketing and more bookings. You're going to learn how to make sure that you are more profitable, make some money, hence the profit planning. And we're going to reverse engineer this year for you. Okay, so if you're aiming for 10K months on demand, 20K, 70, 80K months, whatever that is, we're going to reverse engineer that for you. And you're going to learn how to do it quickly and easily and learn the actual metrics of COGS and OPEX. So for some people who get a bit confused when it comes to why they matter, today we'll dive into it briefly. I'm not going to deep dive. I don't want to fry anyone's brains here today, but we're going to keep it simple. And my goal as well is that you leave super excited, that you can actually truly control and create the success that you want. You're going to have a recipe to follow. You're going to leave with a compass that is going to show you if you're on or off track. So no more guessing and wondering why it didn't work. And you are going to have real confidence in your numbers and pricing. So we're going to take away the scary stuff and the overwhelm. And you can make sure that you're no longer at the mercy of chance, like the algorithm, the economy, anything else. You're going to be in control. And of course, you're going to leave with the relief that it's easier than you think. So numbers are pretty boring. And if you'd wanted to be a numbers nerd, you'd probably have decided to be an accountant, I'm sure. You're probably more focused on your creative work as artists, you know, the fun stuff. And you might be flying by the seat of your pants when it comes to things like pricing and expenses. You know, you'll figure it out eventually. But if we're really honest, and I want you to be honest with yourself here, because this is the stuff that people tell me privately. Often it's that the numbers feel terrifying. It's not that you don't know how to do them or that you can't do them, or often it's because it's scary. There's a meaning we put to it. It's the sort of fear you might feel when you look in your bank account after a bad month and just get that gut punch of reality. And I don't know about you, but I've had that. And you just think it's highlighting all the things I'm doing wrong. It's highlighting the areas that's not working. And that can be really intimidating. So if that is you, you don't have to share that publicly in the chat or anything. But just know that if that is you, that you're not alone. It could be that you're just super overwhelmed by them. But whichever reason, you are avoiding them. And you're probably saying things like, I'm just no good at numbers. But it's that belief that's keeping you stuck. It's the belief that's stopping you from learning. And when you do this, when you ignore your numbers, your marketing's harder. Doesn't matter what strategy you use, because I'll tell you now, whatever strategy you use, it's going to work. But it won't if you're kind of just chasing the strategy and wondering why it's not working for you. It's because you don't know your metrics. You might be always guessing at your pricing because you don't know what to charge. You've got no confidence in why you might charge it. And so you might be playing safe and either doing what everyone else is doing or staying affordable because you don't know the numbers that add up to it. Sales are messy and inconsistent and just not enough to live on. And your fun little hobby, and I say this talking about myself, by the way, I'm not pointing fingers at anyone because this was me, okay, just so that you know, never really gets off the ground and becomes a profitable business. It all feels too bloody hard, and that's not why you decided to do this. So what if it was different? What if your numbers could be fun? What if they actually could be easy? And what if you had a really simple way to understand, manage, and track them? Well, that's what we're going to do today. Because when you nail them, which is what we're going to do in the next hour or so, you're going to take control of your business just like a pilot is in control of the plane. You're going to follow the coordinates. You're going to know what to do to make the money that you desire in the time that you've got available. And you're not going to avoid your bank balance anymore because you'll be like, oh, look how big it is today. It's growing, okay? And you won't be burning out hustling because you're just frantic, not knowing what to do. Marketing is easy, pricing is simple, you make more money, you pay yourself well every month, and best of all, you actually have got confidence that you have a real business. This is what you're going to do when you nail your numbers, and we're going to start this today. Obviously, why should you listen to me? Well, Andrew's already given me a lovely introduction. Thank you so much. So I will skip this part, but I have actually walked the walk. I've been where you are. And I know the struggles, and also obviously I work with a lot of photographers who have the same struggles as well. Now, for me, when I achieved I had a stable business, it wasn't luck. Okay, I didn't have some secret marketing strategy. I wasn't a gun salesperson with all the sales tactics. In fact, I really hate selling. I didn't have some fancy business degree. I'm a high school dropout, and I failed maths twice, and my maths teacher got me suspended. So I certainly wasn't a numbers nerd. And I didn't have a partner financing me. I had to make a living. I had to make it work as a single mom. And here's my secret. I knew my numbers. So quick question, if you had a secret recipe that could make you 50K a month or 10K or 20K or 100K, whatever your next level is, and you could do that on repeat, would that feel exciting for you? if you knew the exact coordinates to get there, I'm going to take a guess that probably you're thinking, hell yeah, all right. I hope you are, because you're here. Okay, but here's the thing. I also want to point out that they have to be easy. I don't know about you, but I do not like complication. I have ADHD, so I don't know if you can relate to that, but trying to focus on too many things at once is going to fry my brain. It gets nothing done. If something's too complicated, I don't want to know about it. So I made sure, also why I failed maths, I made sure that numbers are simple. And for you, if you're busy with family and business, you don't need a complicated accounting system. You've got an accountant for that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a really simple method today. They're just coordinates. A lot of the things that I see photographers resist about numbers is the meaning they give to them. They're just numbers. They're just a coordinate. They're going to help you get on track or to help you reach that next goal. Just like that pilot flying the plane, he's off track, or she, I should say. The pilot is off track 90% of the time. But it's because the coordinates go, let's recorrect. Okay, this is what your numbers are going to do when you track them in your business. Okay, so it's just flying your plane. And they help you to track your data, track your progress. Okay, when you can measure it, you can use it. You can be in control. You're not at the mercy of luck anymore. And honestly, they're just a control panel. Think of it like pushing a button, see what needs to be working or not working, see where you are, and make it happen. All right, hopefully that'll make sense. So let's dive into the good stuff. Who's excited? Who's excited? Other than me, obviously. Okay, I'm going to stop my share and then I'm going to come back and share another screen. I'm going to dive into the sexy little spreadsheet. All right, I'm going to dive in there. So grab your spreadsheets, guys. If you haven't got the link, it's just up in the chat. Make sure I've got the right one that I'm sharing. This one here. And as I have mentioned today, it's a get it done session. Okay, so I don't want to just sit here and tell you all the things. I mean, I've done my teaching. That was my little ranty rant or teach. Now we're going to do. Does that sound good? Is everybody okay with this?
Mm-hmm.
So what I want you to do is grab the numbers, and I'm gonna do some dummy numbers. Perhaps you guys could give me some suggestions. You don't have to share yours. This is your private numbers. And what we're going to do is we are going to type in here. So the numbers, if you've gathered them before the training today, it might be that you did it over the whole year. It might be you did it over the last month or 3 months. So long as all the data is from the same amount of time. And what we're going to do is going to pop it into these fields. So
Kim, is there an advantage if the numbers are over 3, 6, or 12 months? Does it matter?
if your business, like I used to forecast on the 12-month numbers, like my average sale, because my average sale would fluctuate month to month. So I would forecast on like, the average of the averages. But at the end of the day, if you have only got a month or 2 months, that's fine. We're going to use that because chances are when you start taking notice of this, it's going to change anyway.
Okay.
You'll start to see the progress. Hopefully that makes sense. All right, so I see Andrew's just dropped in the chat there. So we're going to put number of sessions. So is it okay if I just kind of make some numbers up so nobody feels like they have to contribute anything at this end? If so, Andrew, maybe help me out. Let's say we did 3 months, and let's say in that time there was an up and down, and maybe in 3 months we did, so an average photographer who's maybe under 10K, we'll sort of work on that one today, but you adjust it for you. Let's just say what would me have done? Maybe would 27 sessions in 3 months sound about right? Or
Just let's ask everyone here, if you're on the live call, how does 27 sessions, you can throw a number out in the chat for 3 months. For you, just give us a rough idea of what you'd like to see Kim use as an example here. Is 27 good? Would you like to see 40? Would you like to see 10? Let us know in the chat, and then Kim can sort of build on there. So 27 works for Abby, 40 for Christabel, around 20, 56,
perfect.
21.
All right, I'm going to split the difference. I'm going to go 35.
Okay.
So bear in mind, this is like, say, it's just guesstimates.
So that's 10 sessions a month, which is around 2.5 a week.
Perfect. And so if you've got your numbers, pop in whatever your number was that you gathered, okay? And then we're going to take the tally of the sales that you made in those same timeframes. Okay, so if you did 35 sessions, and let's just say you did, let's make it easy, 35,000, pop it in there. And there's no judgment. No one can see this. This is just you that can see your numbers. But it's really important that you have an idea of what they are and why they matter.
So Kim, again, just to be clear, this includes any no sales if people are running campaigns where
Oh,
they're doing
yeah.
giveaways.
So in the period of time, whether it be 12 months or 3 months, how many shoots did you do and how much money did you make? Because the no sales are just part of the marketing.
Mm-hmm.
Or they're part of your average, okay? But we're going to say total sales from the sessions in that time, okay? It's going to help you. Now, obviously, in that time frame, let's just say 3 months, maybe you're actively generating leads and running campaigns. Maybe you're not. Maybe you're doing organic only. Again, no judgment. They all work. Okay, so you're going to put your numbers in here. And of course, sometimes you might not have tracked them. Okay, so don't feel bad if you're like, oh my Lord, I don't know what the heck I did. We might just put in a couple of guesstimates just to kind of use this as an example. But let's say you did run a campaign at the beginning of those 3 months, and let's say you generated, let's say maybe 100 leads. Keep the numbers simple. And maybe you found that you had maybe 20 organic inquiries in that time frame. It's up to you if you want to track them or not. We didn't get a lot of organic inquiries because we actually generated all our leads. So, and then let's just say in that same time period, be it 12 months or 3 months, you'd spent some money on Facebook ads or some marketing. Maybe you did an event somewhere like an expo or something. What we're going to do is we're going to actually put in that same time frame, how much money, if any, you spent on marketing. So let's just say you'd run a Facebook promotion, you generated 100 leads, and let's say that to do that, you'd spent, I'm just going to put really simple numbers, $300, whatever that is for you. So is this all making sense? So is everybody following along?
Yeah, we're getting thumbs up and head nods.
Awesome, perfect. Because I know I can go really fast, but I also want to make sure that everybody's following along, or that I'm not being too basic and everybody's going, Karen, hurry up. Okay. Now, in that same time period, if you're doing products especially, you will have spent some money on producing those orders. So if you outsource your retouching, that is a cost of goods. If you are producing artwork like frames or canvases or prints or anything like that, they are your costs of goods. Packaging, anything like that, they're cost of goods. So you would have most likely have spent some money on that. So whatever that amount was in that same time period, I want you to add that in here. Now, for those of you who haven't got these numbers yet, either you're new or you signed up at the last minute or you just haven't tracked them before, that's okay. Follow along with this, and then over the next few weeks and months, you're going to start tracking them so that you can start to see where you're at.
Kim, if I'm selling digital files only through something like PicTime or PixieSet, is that a cost of goods or is that an operational expense?
The subscription to PicTime you're going to pay every month, so it's an OpEx.
Right, okay.
It's an operational expense. However, let's say that you also bought a USB for those people and posted that out. You know, maybe that would be the COGS, for example. Let's say that you do your own. Now, here's something that's interesting. For those of you who outsource your retouching, you're going to use that as a cost of goods because most of the time you're only paying them when you've had an order. However, if you're doing your own retouching, I'm going to challenge you to put that in as a cost of time. Now, whether you want to put it down as a piece rate, for example, $3 per image, okay, because I want you to start thinking about what your time is worth as well, but also to start thinking, wow, one day when I decide to stop retouching my work at midnight and actually have some downtime, I might actually outsource, and this is going to be part of my cost that I actually have already kind of understood and prepared for. Up to you if you want to do that or not. Just a little thought I had last night. But let's just say in that time you spent, what would we spend? Maybe, what if I put 4,000 on COGS? I'm not sure. This is a random number, guys, random. And then maybe in the same time frame, you're probably paying monthly business expenses, and you hopefully have got a good idea on what that is. If you're newer in business, it's probably still quite low. If you've got an established studio or a team, it's going to be a lot higher. And for the sake of this, I haven't included separate team for anyone who has got a team. I'm actually going to pop it into OpEx, but obviously if you're at that point of having a team member or a team in general, you will know that that's a separate part of the business. But for now, I'm assuming most of you don't, or maybe you have a VA. in which case we're going to lump it all together for the sake of simplicity. This is not technical numbers. These are not an exact science. Your accountant will probably go, oh, but there's all these things missing, but that's the point. We want it simple. So let's just say you spend $1,500 a month, and this is a 3 months, so it's $4,500. Okay, is everybody just putting their numbers in the sheet?
So Kim, again, just to clarify for operational expenses, that's going to include rent. Does it include things like electricity and water if you're paying rent?
Yeah, so if you okay, if anything that goes out, any business expenses that go out, regardless of any sales that you make, we're going to
Right.
call that your OpEx. That could be subscriptions to editing software. It could be if you're paying off a loan for your camera gear or something like that. It could be a lease on a studio, power, water then. In regards to home studios or home businesses, your accountant is going to work that out for you. Okay, I'm not an accountant. So there is obviously some areas here that you probably want to make sure that you understand. And in most cases, if you're a home business, your accountant's going to calculate that for you based on the square meters and all that. But that's not my job. So basically anything you pay month on month or even annually, you can just break it up into 12. Anything you claim on tax, well, you can claim your COGS on tax. So we're going to keep them separate. If we just keep it really like go, okay, well, this is an expense that's going to go out, even if I make no sales, even if I've got no bookings. We're going to simplify it. So that's your OpEx. Is that kind of
That's good.
just to keep it real simple?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. Has everybody got that all in there? And then how much do you pay yourself in that time frame? Now, again, depending on the way you've set up your business, that could be just something that you just take out randomly. But hopefully you do track it, or even better, have it separate. Please keep personal and business separate. But you want to have a good idea of how much you make. And you will know yourself if you're making enough money and hitting your goals, or if you're actually struggling and going, geez, I don't know if I can actually keep doing this. I don't know if this is sustainable. So let's just say in those 3 months, you paid yourself 15,000. I mean, it's a very general guess. Okay, I'm just keeping it simple. These are the only ones we're going to really guess at.
Sorry, Kim, let me just take you back to how much do you pay yourself or did you
Yeah.
pay yourself? What about for, say, the sole trader that's reasonably new or early on in their career and they're just taking money out of what they see as the profits just now and like to live off?
Drawings. Yeah, just taking drawings.
Yes.
So hopefully you've got a way of tracking that.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that's just going through the bank statements and going, okay, well, that month I took out X amount of money as needed. And I know a lot of smaller businesses do that.
Mm-hmm.
As you get more consistent with your income, you will get more consistent in what you pay yourself. And you may even get to the point you pay yourself once a month, put yourself so that, on a payroll, there's, I don't know about Australia and around the world, but certainly in New Zealand, we've got payroll companies and they do all the other stuff. They do the other personal taxes for you. But I'm not an accountant, not diving into that too much, but you should have a good idea what you paid, either through looking through Xero or something like that, or your bank statements to go, okay, well, this is how much money I got. Or if you've had your accounts done by your accountant recently, they will actually show you that as well.
Okay. And then just finally for me, let's say in that 3 months, I made a big purchase, so $10,000 on new equipment.
Yeah.
I just paid it. I paid cash because I had it in the bank. Does that go down then as an operation expense? Do I divide that over 12 months or just put it in as one amount?
That is a question for your accountant because depending on how it's depreciated, that might be more like plant.
Okay.
So for this, we can put it in as OpEx because it's kind of like it's a business expense, but technically it's plant and it's going to depreciate over X amount of years. I'm not sure if it's different for different studios.
It will be. Yep. Okay.
Yeah, so that's the sort of thing I'd really like you to talk to your accountant about because they're the ones that are managing the tax side of things.
Mm-hmm.
So you can choose if it's a one-off, you can choose whether you include it in here or not. And perhaps if it's a one-off, maybe for this example, and thank you for the curveball, Andrew. I appreciate it.
Sorry.
No, it's good. It's good because someone will ask me that. Maybe it was a one-off like that. Maybe we keep it separate because what we actually want to do is start getting more predictability. So like your predictable expenses, the regular things. And then as we start building up more and more profit in your account, then you're going to make those one-off purchases a lot more comfortably. Does that kind of feel okay with everybody there?
100%. That's good.
Perfect. Thank you so much. All right, approximate hours. Now you'll know again, this is the part where you start really guessing. you're going to know if you're up at 11:30 at night retouching and working every weekend. You're going to know if your hours are around school hours. Okay, you're going to know if you're working the hours you want to work or not. So for most small businesses, I mean, the maximum I'd love to see is 40 or 35 to 40. That's a full-time hours, but I'd love to see you get down to like school hours, which is if you're doing 10, 20K a month, there's no reason why you can't do that in school hours with the right systems in place. And if you've got a team and you've actually got them, managed well and doing it, well, then of course you're going to work a lot less hours. It's the whole idea of a team is you work less. So you will have a bit of an idea. Now, this is the guesstimate. This is the one time we're actually going to really guess. But let's just say you said, okay, I'm doing 50 hours a week. And I used to do stupid hours a week. So, whatever it is for you right now, it is what it is. And if you love that and you're just like, totally like, yeah, I'm so like fired up. I just can't wait to get up and start working. I mean, I was pretty fired up about this today and I got up at really early hours and started getting, finishing touches. That wasn't a chore, but you'll know yourself if you're like, oh man, I'm really exhausted. I just wish I didn't have to work so much, so you'll know what's true for you. So whatever that is for you, pop it in there. I know when I was doing 50, 60 hours a week with a toddler, it was dumb. He was doing 46 hours in preschool. Every week he was going to his dad's every second weekend. And I pretty much worked, 12-day weeks and would get up early in the morning to finish things up. I'd work at night. It was just ridiculous. And that's not sustainable. So I just want to pop you down in there, whatever that is for you. If you've got an idea, pop it in. And let's just say you did 12 weeks work in that 3 months. Okay, so obviously it's just going to calculate down here. All right. Has everybody got their numbers in? A guesstimate, approximation, or data? Okay, I can see the few people here I can see nodding. Thank you. So now we want to flip over to the high level view. And this is going to give you some data. These are the numbers that we want to know. You can see it's actually not that many.
So this has been pre-populated by the numbers that you put on the first sheet.
That's pulled it through.
Right.
Okay, so this is kind of like where you are now. This is a snapshot. It's not good. It's not bad. It just is. Okay, so based on the numbers that I punched in, the random numbers I punched in, you have a $3 cost per lead. It might be higher or lower. Again, there's no right or wrong. You had a conversion rate of 30%. You had an average sale of 1,000. OPEX was 13% each month, which is lovely. We like that. COGS is 12%. We really like that. Or you might find yours is higher or lower. Again, it's just a snapshot. So for anyone who's not sure what their cost of goods percent is, this is how you work it out. Your cost of goods is worked out over the period of each month, not per product. You should know it per product as well, but of course those products will fluctuate, and we want to track your COGS and OPEX over the period of the month in relation to the income you bring in. Tell me if I'm losing anybody here, and I want to. If I see any, so I only see a few people here. I can see those furrowed brows or glazed over looks, or if you're all following me.
No, we're all just taking it in, and absorbing the numbers, and I guess comparing them to our real numbers. So just quickly, Kim, when you look at these numbers that we've got here now,
Yeah.
is there any alarm bells going off for you, or does this look okay as a business?
I'd like to see the hourly rate up. But I mean, this would actually be quite doable. I mean, if you've got OPEX of 12% or 13%, that's quite sustainable. If you've got COGS of 12%, that's really sustainable as well. But I often work with photographers and I'll see them coming in with COGS sitting at around about 30 or more percent, which I also want to let you know, there's no one rule for any of these things. Like it really is dependent on how they all work together. So if you think about like a pie and each slice, we want to make sure you're getting the slice you need. Obviously, we want to make sure that the tax department gets the slice that they need, otherwise they'll come and get it. And we want to make sure that your COGS and OPEX allow that to happen. And often I'll find that people aren't earning enough because they're priced too low, their COGS is too high, the OPEX might be creeping up, and it will creep up as you grow your business too, just so that you know, don't be afraid of that. So long as you're understanding it every month and it's like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I've got profit in there this month. Awesome. Or I've paid myself the amount I want to pay myself, which is great. So when it comes to your personal pay and your hourly rate, again, this is going to be really dependent on you. I mean, some photographers I work with want 5K a month, part-time, like really, really part-time. And that's great. That's what they want. So they don't have to go and get a job and they want to do what they love. Other photographers want 50, 60, 70K months. So it's really, really personal on your goals. So I'm not even going to sit there and say you should earn this amount. I'm just going to show you the numbers that are going to get you to your desired result. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Awesome.
There's a question there from Brett. If you have associate shooters out for a
Mm,
shoot, does that go down into COGS? So I'm paying another photographer to do the shoot.
I would probably put, I probably should have put team in here because that would go into team,
Right.
whether it be
Okay.
contractors or whether it be ongoing team. So if you're, because cost of goods is basically cost of goods sold, and you could hire people, and if you don't have, for example, a sale, if that was a no sale, say you did a portrait shoot, you got a associate shooter in, but it was a no sale, well, then that's a business, it's not a cost of goods because you didn't make any sales off it. So I would, if you have to put it into OpEx, I would do that. But if you're doing it regularly, I'd rather you see it actually add another field in for team and contractors.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, just to keep it clean and simple. I didn't put it in, I probably should have. Um, I can add it in the future if people want to track that. If there's a lot of you that have contractors and team, I certainly did in my business because obviously I had a team. All right. Is that where we're at
Yeah,
now?
that's good. I'll talk to you and everyone else after about adding a Teams column
Yeah, that's
and
easy
go.
enough to do.
Great.
Yeah. Yeah, because again, once you're building a team, again, that's another percent, it's another slice of the pie. And once you kind of have a good understanding of sort of what, like, if you can keep your team under 25%, for example, if you can keep your OpEx under 20, if you can keep your profit at 25%. I mean, these are basic and it depends on your business and model. But once you know what your metrics are, then you can actually have more control and you can measure it and you go, well, okay, we're not making enough profit to hire a team member yet. Or I've got too many team members and I'm not making enough money for myself. I need to change this. So it's going to highlight the areas of concern, which is usually going to be profit and time. But you can kind of start to see what's contributing to that. And you should know this, especially if you've got big goals. Like just show of hands, who here has got big goals? Who has got like really sexy big goals? Yeah, awesome. Cool. And so if you want to get from where you are now and keep growing and grow and actually reach those goals, which you will do that and more, I've got no doubt, then you need to watch these numbers. You need to track them and make sure every single month you're tracking how much income hit the bank account. Where did it go? What did it cost me? What's my cost of goods? When I'm setting my pricing up, what do I need to earn per customer? Obviously, I don't want to dive into too many different tangents, but this is why it's so important to understand. It's so that you can grow. It's not so that you can be, have a great conversation with your accountant. It's so that you can actually control your business and actually make money easily.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Two questions for you here, Kim. Is there an OpEx percentage that you think is unhealthy, or does it just depend on the business?
It's always going to depend on your business and the slice of pie. So in earlier business, you are earning less. But if you've got, say, 2 grand OpEx or 1 grand OpEx, that percentage will be higher at an earlier stage. That is relevant to you, but you probably also, maybe if at an earlier stage, you probably don't have huge COGS yet because you might not be doing products, or depending
So
on how your business is set up.
in Peter's case, I know he's running a team. It's quite an established business. He's got a good turnover, I think. I'm guessing here. Sorry if
It's
I'm
got a
saying the
team, you
wrong
must
thing, Pete.
do.
Will he have a higher or lower percentage
Be
OpEx?
lower because your OpEx will generally, once you're at that stable level, as your income grows, your OpEx percentage will stay. They're usually kind of like your fixed overheads. They're mostly fixed, okay? Not always, as we've talked about today already. So, for example, let's say, for my business, I'll use my studio as an example, full disclosure. When I had my studio and we're doing 50K a month, I think I paid, rent was about 2.5 grand. So I know that our OpEx is around about 20%. So that was every single month. My team, I tried to keep under 25%. I tried to maintain a profit margin of 25%. Now, for a smaller business, 25% might not sound much, but when you're, doing consistent months, then you just want to make sure you're really watching it, especially once you get a team, because the minute you get a team, you're now responsible for them. And that pressure is pretty intense. You guys will know what I'm talking about if you're there. And you want to make sure that you get it right. So does that answer the question?
I think so. I think it
Tell me
does.
if I don't. I go on a tangent. I get
No,
all.
no, that was good. Christabel's got an important point here. She says, I think my figures are skewed. I pay myself a wage and chuck everything else into a savings account. And then when I want something, I just buy it. However, working on what I pay myself, my hourly rate is dire.
Yeah. Yeah, no judgment here. What I would suggest is that you set up a really good banking system. Now, there is one of the tabs at the bottom is your bonus allocations calculator. It's and we'll get to that at the end, or you can dive into it later. I really do suggest that you set up a really good banking system. I love the envelope system. Some of you will be familiar with Profit First. This, what I'm talking about, is not, because I'm not a Profit First professional. And like everything, I was like, man, that's way too complicated. Let's do it simple. But if you can really track your numbers, have very separate bank accounts for business and personal, pay yourself from your business to your personal, you're going to unskew those numbers a lot quicker. But in the early days, or until you take charge of this, yeah, it's going to feel really messy. So just try and track it as much as possible and separate it as much as possible. Even better, have separate bank accounts for different parts of your business, like your COGS, your OPEX. That's up to you if you love that idea. If that sounds too complicated, don't do it. And don't do it without advice. But I can highly recommend, listening to or reading Profit First. And I know there is a photographer's version as well. Otherwise, the allocations calculator on the other tab is the basic envelope system that you could also use as well. And we'll get to that hopefully today.
Cool. Last one for you before we move on here, Kim. Do you suggest we track time spent on marketing and other business support activities as part of our total hours worked per week?
Oh, yes.
Okay, so it's not just shooting and editing, it's everything that you do, all the time you spend on the business.
Absolutely. Absolutely. If you're going to go to work in another studio, you're probably going to get paid a salary or a weekly wage or a monthly salary, whichever. And they're going to have set hours for you. So that's really the only time I want you to start thinking of your job like a job. It's like, well, if I was working in a studio, I wouldn't be working at 11 o'clock at night and not getting paid. So track that. If you want to be real, I haven't gone into tracking on this particular training, but hell yes, there are some amazing tracking softwares out there. Toggle would be the recommendation. There's many others. Or just use a notebook, and every time you start a new task, okay, I'm working on my marketing, or hey, I'm working on social media, or hey, I'm working on my admin. And just track how much time you're spending on each thing. And for two reasons. One, that's going to tell you how much hours you're working. Just do it for a couple of weeks, by the way. Like it's a brain bleeding exercise, and I hate doing it. My team hated doing it the occasional time I made them do it. But what it does is means that not only are you going to know how many hours you actually work, but you will also know that when you hire someone, you're going to know how many hours you're going to claim back, and also you're going to know how many hours are needed for that role. Like I didn't have any full-timers in my studio. They were all part-time. They were mums. They did a couple of days a week. Enabled me to get my hours back down to 10 hours a week. But it was because I knew how to claim my time back. So yes, tracking your time is great for so many reasons, but be consistent and only do it for like a week or 2 weeks. That will give you a good idea, because you probably want to throw it out the window after that if you're like me. Does that help?
That's great, Kim. Let's keep going.
All right, cool bananas. Okay, so you've got all your numbers in there. Now you've got a bit of a snapshot of where you are. Okay, or you can see what relates to it, what leads into it. This is for later. This is not for today now. Do it later after the call, but I want you to really start thinking about what did and didn't work in your business, what you want more of, what you want less of. But that's not today. That's for you later if you want to get really clear on what to change, and your numbers will help you to do that. But let's dive into the sexy bit. This is a fun part. We mentioned at the beginning who loves money and who wants more money, and everybody kind of said yes. I didn't see anyone go, nah, I hate it, don't want it. Okay, everybody said yes, and if you didn't, I know you're thinking it. This is where we make it happen. So now what we're going to do is we're going to say, all right, let's get deliberate. Now this is mostly for portrait photographers. So if you're doing weddings or commercial, you may need to adapt it. That's not my area of expertise. Okay, let's just assume that you're all portrait photographers. Whatever level you or your studio is at, how much capacity do you have? Like if you think about the time that you have for sessions, admin, booking calls, customer service, sales, production, managing your business, how many clients can you comfortably do each month? Let's just assume you're making the money you need to make and you're not working stupid hours into the night unless you want to. What's your capacity? And most photographers who I work with who want to get to those 10K months, like consistently, let's just use that as a bit of a general benchmark, put your number in. They've usually got, let's just say, maybe a capacity of 12. They're like, that's the peak, 3 a week, that's the peak. That's a lot of work if you're doing it all yourself. Okay, but let's just say that's how many they could book if they want to do. And let's just say they've got an average sale of 1,000, because again, I like simple math, but whatever that is, put yours in. And let's just say they know that when they have a lead, now lead to booking rate, I want to just clarify this for a second, because you might track your leads as in all inquiries, all leads generated, like total leads, especially if you're doing like evergreen Facebook campaigns or something like that. You will have a, let's just say 20%, 18% conversion rate, or whatever that is for you. However, if like me, you track your conversion on people you actually invite or connect with. So if we did a Facebook campaign, we weren't going to invite everybody in because some people just weren't the right fit just now. So I would track conversion on both of them, and I'll talk more about that later if you want. But so whatever that is for you, okay? So let's just assume that at the moment we're talking the whole lot. So let's just say that that's a 20% of all leads generated, whether you invite them in or not. Just say that, okay? But whatever that is for you, whichever way you go. I actually have another spreadsheet where we tracked both because I'm a geek. It's going to let you know that if you convert 20% of every single person that reaches out to you or signs up for something, you're going to need to really generate around about that 60 leads per month. Now, again, that's more evergreen side of things. You might find that your conversion rate is actually a lot lower. So I've talked to a lot of photographers who might have more like a 7% conversion rate. So you can just sort of see the difference. And it's really important that you know this, so that when you're going into your marketing and when you're deliberately generating those leads, that you know, wow, based on my lead conversion rate, I need to generate this many leads. So for an example, a lot of photographers will say my marketing doesn't work, or I did that marketing campaign, it didn't work. I ran Facebook ads, it didn't work. No, they just didn't know what it was going to take to get to the result they wanted. And this didn't generate enough leads. And when I actually unpack it with them, I'm like, hell's bells, it was an amazing campaign. Look at those conversion rates. Look at everything. You just didn't get enough leads at the top end. Or in some cases, we're looking at going, yeah, actually you got the leads, but there's some other holes that we need to fill to get you to your goals. Okay, so these are the basics. Does this make sense?
It does, Kim. Let me ask you. So let's say I run a Facebook ad with a giveaway campaign and I bring in 100 leads. So they've filled out the lead form. I've got 100 leads. I take those leads through a funnel, for want of a better term,
yeah, yeah,
and I invite 20 in out of the 100, and
yeah.
out of those I book 4. So
Okay.
am I looking at the 100 or the 20
I'd
of,
like you to look at both. And
right?
for those of you who signed up early, you actually will get a bonus that's going to do that for you, like a spreadsheet. So I would recommend if you know that out of 100 leads, around about 20 are going to be qualified, or that you're going to likely to invite, well, that's also a metric to track.
Right.
I'd like to think you invite more out of 100, but anyway, not overqualified. But as an example, so you would actually track both. You'd say, okay, based on my last 3 or 4 campaigns, every 100 people I invited 20, and every 20 I got 4. It's going to give you some pretty consistent metrics to work
Mhm.
when you start planning your next campaign, because now you've got data. Now, what was a guess and felt really uncertain, because I know a lot of photographers feel really uncertain with marketing because of what's going to happen. I don't know how many are going to book, especially in the beginning, especially with a giveaway. How many people are going to book them? What if they all take the free print? All the things, right? But if you've done it a few times and you've tracked it, you're like, huh, now it's consistent. Now it's certain. It's predictable. Okay, but you're not going to know or have that certainty until you track these numbers. And it's
Okay.
this, and just even knowing what that is means that when you're running a lead campaign of some sort, be it, with someone else or at an expo or on Facebook, you are going to know, hey, for me to hit my goals, I know I need to start with this many people. If you think of it like a funnel, I need to have 171 people at the top of my funnel. And of those, I'm going to invite a smaller amount in. And of those, I know that X% will book. And of those, I know that X% will be a no sale and X% will buy. And of all of those ones who, are invited in, I know my sales, based on my average sale, I can now predict how much money I can make in advance.
Mhm.
And I can reverse engineer those, those 10K, 20K, 30K months, because now I know the recipe.
Okay.
regardless of the marketing strategy. And
So
obviously, yeah.
again, not to push the point.
No,
So,
dude.
for this leads to booking rate conversion, am I putting in here 20% or
So
4%?
for you, what I would do back here is you could decide how many leads I generate or how many leads did I invite in.
Right.
You could make it yours. Um, I have a really good spreadsheet for those of you who signed up early that is going to make this really simple. It's going to track both for you. But for this simple thing that you can look at it and go, okay, I generated 100 leads total. I invited 50 and I booked 40 or 20 or whatever it is for you.
Right.
So long as you track and measure the same metrics each time, then you will get consistent, predictable data that you can use. If you're mixing and matching and going, oh, I think I'll just track how many, just one metric, then just do that same one every time.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know different people do it differently. If you're running evergreen, you're going to be tracking everything. If you're like me, where we only invited in a certain amount of people and we tracked our conversion, we had about 30 to 40% conversion on invited leads, depending on the campaign, and that was predictable. So we knew that in advance. And I knew based on how many of total leads I'd invite in, I knew kind of also what my total conversion would be.
Okay.
And that's like,
What about something like that? Let's say I've got 100 email leads on my email list
yeah.
and I send out a campaign. I've got a special offer for Mother's Day. Yeah, go on. What are you going to say?
No, carry on because this is different data again, but yeah,
Right.
good.
And let's say I get two bookings, again, is that a 2% conversion rate?
Yes, from that campaign from your email list. So your email list are already leads you already have.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's like a cherry on top. And I highly recommend remarketing to people through your email list and doing, under the radar campaigns just like that. So for the sake of this exercise, I'm thinking more like total leads generated. How many new people came into your database in that time? And use it that way. But yes, I would definitely still track the email ones as well. I'd be tracking email open rates for those of you who send out email newsletters or promotions. How many people that you sent it out to open their email? Of how many of those people, like what was your total amount of click-through rate? Like how many people clicked on the link to find out more? And of those people, how many booked call or how many booked in? So definitely there are some metrics there, and they can be a little bit different depending on how hot your audience is, how new they are. Some people find that they have a really hot email list and they actually get better results from doing that. Other people find that they've already booked in the keen beans and it's a lower conversion on the second time round. So
Mm-hmm.
find your numbers, find your truth. And this is something I say to a lot of my clients as well. Is like never believe a word I say. Never trust me or anyone. And the fact that don't believe anybody blindly, get your numbers, get your data, because then you're going to know exactly what your business needs and what works for you. Because what works for some people might work differently for someone else. So learn from as many people as you can, but track your numbers so that you're the one in control. You're not relying on someone to be, I don't know, the answer all the time. They can help you find it. Does that kind of also make sense? I'm really
Yeah.
passionate about that.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Are there any other questions? We'll go back to profit goals. Sorry, here we are. Okay, so let's just say we like that. And let's say we know that, I have a feeling one of these is, I've got a broken thing. Let's say we know that we've got a very simple 20%. Yeah, perfect. And let's say we know that our OPEX is 1,200 a month, for example, and we've got a marketing budget of 5%. And for most of you, depending on how you do your marketing, if you're doing evergreen, you've probably got a higher marketing budget. If you're just doing the type of marketing that I teach, you're going to have a much lower marketing budget. Okay, so whatever that is for you, and if you don't know, just put 5% and just put that money aside every month so that when you do run a campaign, you've got the money waiting. So then you've got your profit before you pay, and let's say you say, well, okay, I want 7,000 a month. Okay. And of course, like this is not including tax, guys. Again, I'll just reiterate, I'm giving you a basic high level view, not a taxation view. Design hours, I want to do 20 hours because I want a life. Again, that's going to put my hourly rate at $81. So now I want to also say, look over here and say, well, okay, but I also want to take 6 weeks off, or maybe let's say 2 months because I'm a mama or a parent and I've got school holidays. So let's say I work 10 months a year. That's going to get me to 120,000 a year. So I want you to use this sheet and play around with a few numbers. So plug your numbers in and then play around with them and go, oh, what if I got this to 15? What if I increased my average sale? Ooh, look how sexy that is. How cool's
Big,
that?
big difference.
Big difference. And what if, sorry, and what if we just reduce our COGS a little bit? What if we kind of put the prices up a little bit, made a little bit more and got that down to 18%?
But
And then,
is that a feasible suggestion to reduce our COGS? Like, is that because that's not so easy to do, is it?
well, it is totally just increase your prices.
Okay.
Well, increase
So
your prices and increase your sales.
right, okay.
It can take some time because you have to track it as you go. So it doesn't always happen overnight. And also, there's often a confidence thing. I know we've talked about this before on one of your podcasts. A lot of photographers aren't ready just to chuck their prices to where it needs to be. It needs to be a progression just for their confidence. Otherwise, they'll self-sabotage. Some photographers are like, yeah, bring it. Let's do it. And they can go a lot faster. So yes, it is feasible. I think you should always be watching it. But test your market as well. Like obviously different pricing there is a slight difference in different markets, but I don't want you to let that be the limit either. I just want you to understand what it's going to take to get to your goals. And if you've got a $500 average sale and you're doing digitals, and there's nothing wrong with digitals, by the way, you can be very profitable with them if you do it right. But let's say you had a $500 average sale, but you wanted to do 20K a month. Well, you do the math. Let's have a look at it. Let's say I have an average sale of 500. And let's say that I would need to do, I don't know what that would be. Would it be 40? Yeah, 40 sessions. And we used to do that in my studio on average. And I had a team. It's a shitload of work, excuse my language, guys. So you need to look at your goal and then look at the things that contribute to it and take a honest look at it and go, well, am I actually going to be able to do 40 sessions? Do I want that? Not only that, but the amount of marketing to get those many bookings. I'd rather do things the easy way and say, well, okay, I would rather have an average sale of 2,000 and do 10 sessions a month consistently. That's really doable. So you play with this is your playground here is decide what you want and play with the different metrics that you might want to adjust. And there's no one recipe for everyone because you're all different. You all want different goals. You've all got different expenses. You've all got different capacity. I mean, now if I was going back and doing my time again as a single mum with a toddler, I wouldn't put him into preschool 46 hours a week. That would suck. It did suck. I didn't love it. So I would try to be more consistent, but I didn't know how to do that back then. But I did in time. And so for you guys, I want you to look at your capacity, your desired income per customer, your monthly income, and work out what that's going to look like for you here. And when you do that, and it gets fun because you can change that. You can go, oh, what if I do this? What if I got a team member and we can actually do a little bit more with capacity? That's what we did. I was like, oh, how can I get my hours down? Oh, what can we do to get my income up so I can have that team member so I don't have to do that job? And then you start playing the seesaw game, which is actually really fun.
Kim, in your experience with your coaching, if you talk to someone and they want to raise their income, they want to make more profit, do you find generally it's easier to raise their prices, to shoot more? I guess that's really the
Well,
only.
well, it's all of the above, depending on them, because if they're already at capacity for
Right.
shoots, I'm not going to say, well, we're just going to double your shoots because that's going to not be sustainable. But let's just say they've got room, but they're just not booked. So
Mm-hmm.
we're going to work on the marketing and say, okay, well, let's do the reverse engineer. We're going to generate the leads to get the bookings to make that consistent, right? That's the first thing. And then we go, okay, well, based on your capacity and based on your goals, your current average and current pricing is not going to get you there. So then we're going to dive into pricing. And now, obviously, your average sale isn't just your pricing, but you do have to be priced to make it happen. So I do a couple of things. I will help people create I call it a value ladder. that makes it a really easy pathway to get someone to buy the amount that they want to buy. But we also need to have the products, the quality, and the sales process. So there's a combination. You can have all the same things and have a different person doing the sales or a different sales process and get different results. So again, it's like understanding each step of the way. Like I talk about the customer journey, like right from the first time they see an advert for you or they come across you, right through to the point where they, have their artwork delivered or they pick up their artwork. There are points at every way, and they've all got measurements attached to them. Like how many people click on the ad, how many people fill out the form, how many people book in, how many people buy, what's the total sale, what's the average sales. And so when you can actually track those metrics, you quickly see the gaps. That sounds really overwhelming. I promise it's actually not.
So hang on. So the lowest hanging fruit really is first of all, get yourself to capacity and
Yeah,
then look at your pricing and the other systems.
100%, because you'll always get better and better at your sales and your systems, but it doesn't matter how good you are if you don't have the customers.
Mm-hmm.
You need bookings. And okay, I'd rather see you fully booked at $800 than focusing only on how to get to the $2,000 average, but having no bookings to prove it. So it's a progression. And I think, being okay with that as well. I mean, some people go there really fast because they've got the confidence, they just get it. But others take a bit longer, and that's okay. There's no rush. So long as you can see your progress and you can see what it's going to take to get there, and you can understand those levers. And this is what I do with my clients. I actually am in there going, okay, well, based on your numbers, here's the lever to pull. So they're not doing it on their own, but having these spreadsheets is so much easier because then it's like, okay, now this actually makes sense.
Got it.
Now I can see, I can self-diagnose. And as you can see, as much as I know for some of you, this might be like, oh, this feels like math class. There's not a lot of numbers at this point to track. So if you nail these ones here, you're going to hit your goals. And yes, there are other metrics that we can measure along the way. But when you're ready, the basics are so important. If you don't have these in place, if you don't know how many bookings at what average sale and, how to fill those bookings up, well, then you're going to struggle and it's always going to be guesswork, and you're going to say things like, oh, the economy's no good this year. And it's like, no, it's not the blooming economy. Yes, it's tougher, but let's adjust your business. No, it's not that your social media feed is oversaturated. It's because you're not marketing. Or no, it's not because Facebook ads don't work. It's just that you haven't converted the leads that you've got. Let's look at the one or two big sort of chunks. And I usually recommend that people look at one chunk at a time so that they don't go away going, and let's fix those gaps. And that's how we get to the results.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Can you touch on, Kim, the marketing budget number, how you came up with that, and is that a good number that you're looking at right there at 5%?
It's amazing. I was told that and I just kept that. I was like, oh, that sounds good.
5%?
I had a studio tell me that, and they're like, you should have a 5% marketing budget. And I went, okay. And I just ran with it. So there's no science to it. However, obviously, based on your lead cost, because now you know what that is, and you're going to track all your campaigns from now on, you will know what your marketing budget needs to be to get the leads that you need, to get the bookings you need. And you might find it's more like 10%. Or if you're running evergreen, you might find it's higher. Okay.
You keep saying evergreen. What's an example of an evergreen marketing campaign?
Evergreen might, okay, and this is, again, it's dependent on each photographer. Evergreen is when you've got one kind of ad that runs all the time. It just runs continuously, maybe a free print, like Families Wanted free print. And you see bigger studios often do it. And that's great. It works. Like everything works. You just got to understand how to make it work for you. But often those marketing budgets, when I talk to a lot of those photographers, tend to be a little bit higher if the same people are seeing their ad all the time. People who haven't clicked through before, sometimes that might push your lead costs up. Or because you're running ads every single month, obviously then there's another budget. Whereas if you're only running ads, occasionally, and you're doing offline marketing, you've got, organic marketing, all those sort of things, then you can actually bring your costs down.
Mm-hmm.
It's just about whatever works for you. Some people are like, I don't have time to do anything else, so therefore I would rather run ads every month. So I'm not going to say there's a right or wrong. It really depends on you. I've just put that number in because that was the number we had.
Okay.
And someone told me, so I ran with it. And it worked.
If you change that number to 10, that marketing budget to 10%, how badly does that affect everything else?
Well, it's not badly. It just affects everything. Okay, so it's just going to it's just going to be more money going out in there. But if that's what you need to have consistency, then it's worth doing.
Right.
Okay. A lot of photographers also, I find, especially when we're talking about sort of paid marketing, often underestimate how much they may need to spend to get the leads. So often they just have too low a budget and they say, hey, I ran an ad for 4 days on $20 a day and I didn't get any bookings. And I mean, sometimes they do, sometimes they don't, but I'm like, okay, what was your goal? They're like, well, I wanted 50 leads and I wanted 50 bookings. And I was like, 50 leads are not going to be 50 bookings. You know, you might get 5, maybe.
Right.
So again, the more that you know your metrics and what is going to get you to that goal, the more you can control it at the front end. So we always start at the end of a goal and go, okay, I want a 6-figure year, I want 10K months or whatever that is. We're going to reverse engineer and go, okay, based on that, I need X amount of clients for these amount of months. I need to have an average sale of this. And it's going to tell you what to work on to actually get there. I want you to be in control. Like, I don't want any of you here after today thinking that your business isn't where you want it to be because of the algorithm, the economy, the year of the freaking snake. I don't know what. I'm sorry, I'll get off my pedestal. I am so passionate about this. I want you guys to be control freaks and go, how can I control this? Because the minute you start thinking like that, like what needs to happen, the more that the opportunities, the ideas, you're going to start looking at your numbers and you will make those results happen. Even if right now you feel like your goals feel a little bit more like a wish, when you follow this, you become the control. And it means that whatever marketing strategy you do, you're going to know what's going to contribute to the results that you want because they all work.
Cool.
A few serious looking faces in the
Very good. All
All
right,
right.
let's keep going, Kim.
Exactly, Simon. Okay, this one here is just for you. Okay, this is for after. This is not for today. We don't have time. And I just want you, if you're not sure where to look first, again, your traffic lights are going to give you an idea. You say, okay, I don't know how to generate leads in demand. Well, maybe that's the first thing we need to be focusing on. You start learning how to get those leads up and running. Okay. So this is just your traffic lights and your goal is to get it all to green. But you're going to go through this in your own time, not today, and just identify the big reds. And that's going to help you to go, okay, well, that's obviously marketing, or maybe you're great with marketing, but maybe you don't know what it's going to take. Or you feel like, oh, I don't actually know what I need to do, or maybe my booking conversion isn't so great. So this is your traffic light to give you a bit of a pointer to say, okay, well, rather than looking at all your numbers and trying to fix everything at once, let's just focus on the ones that are red and get you into a bit more control. Does that make sense? It's just a really good thing. I think a lot of people find this a bit of clarity for themselves to know what to focus on first. And if you focus on one thing at a time, and let's say you said one thing a month, at the end of the year, you've fixed or increased the performance of 12 areas of your business, which is pretty cool. All right, but that is for later. So I want you to go through that. Just do that for your own thing. And then I know how much you're all going to love doing this. Every month, I want you to make a copy of the spreadsheet. Even if you only do this once a month. Okay, I promise you the results that you will get. You'll be like, I am so glad I did it. Let's just say that we've got March, just around the corner. And let's just say we're going to put our goals in here. And you say, right, I want 10 sessions photographed. And of those 10 sessions, I want my 10K month or whatever that is for you. And that means I need to have an average sale of 1,000. It's not going to populate. You need to just obviously put that in. And I want to pay myself, I don't know, 5 grand of that, whatever that is for you. And I'd like to do it in 20 hours a week. Okay. You might say that's 80 hours a month, whatever that is for you. Just put your goals. Just basically what you're doing here is you're setting your intention. Because I think a lot of photographers get so busy being busy. There's a lot of satisfaction in getting shit done, like things off the list, things like, oh, I've done my new website, it looks great. And it does, by the way, those of you who see it does look amazing. But if that's not actually contributing to your goals, then you're wasting time. And even though that sense of satisfaction of, yeah, I did this thing, I got this thing ticked off, whatever it is, if you need to be looking at, especially if you're under 10K, you really need to be focusing on what do I need to do to get the results? And this project or this focus, is it because I'm being busy and therefore feeling productive, but not making me money? Or am I actually focusing on something that's going to make a difference right now? So for anyone under 10K, leads, booking, sales. Your website can wait. Leads, booking, sales. Anyone who's, a bit more established and you're looking to bring on a team member, well, then you're going to be looking at what that's going to take to get there. So then you're bringing in time a lot more. There's no point having a team if you're doing 60 hours a week babysitting. Ask me how I know. Team building is a whole other business, and it's painful. But you need to understand what your intention is and get really intentional. Like I've worked with photographers and I've said to them on our calls, it's like, hey, now remind me, what was your goal this month? And they can't remember what their goal is. Do you think they're going to hit their goal? Probably not. So I want you to be really intentional. I want you to say, okay, this is what I'm going to do. How can I make this happen? And just that one question is going to it's going to give you a little bit more oomph. And then at the end of the month or beginning of the next month, when everything's in, you're going to go, all right, I did 11, nailed it. And I did 12,000 in sales, nailed it. Okay, you're going to start to feel pretty damn good. If you want to track your COGS, you can. I do recommend it. And let's just say you had 3,000 in COGS, 25%. It's really good just to know what your COGS are each month. Okay. OPEX, I might have spent $2,000. Okay. Oh, hours I worked. Did I keep them to my hours? Again, it's only if you really want to track your hours, if you're trying to get them down, up to you. But I do like tracking your hourly rate as an example, because if you're finding your hourly rate would be better off working down at Woolies, wow, we've got a conversation to have. Like you need to be honest, is that okay? And if that's okay, hey, there's no problem. I'm not here to say that that's anything wrong. But if you're thinking, well, that's just not going to help me to provide for my family as much as I'd like to without burning out, well, then you're going to track it. So let's just say you did do your 80 hours and you did pay yourself. Let's see, you paid yourself, what have we got in profit? You say you paid yourself 6,000 because you had a little bit extra this month. Okay, your hourly rates, obviously give or take 75, and that just feels really good, doesn't it? You're like, oh, I can see my hourly rate going up. And if you set aside, like put it in your calendar once a month to set your goals and track your results, I promise you will see massive progress. If you do nothing else this year but track your numbers and actually get intentional, I promise you will be surprised at how much your business and life will change. All right. And then of course your profit, then you can decide, do I keep that and bank it in my profit account or my buffer account for quiet months, or that new sexy camera gear that I want, whatever that is. Talk to your accountant, obviously, about tax. Yet again, put your details in there. And then you can track those as well if you want to do that. If you want, depends on how geeky you want to get. But if you track this alone, this is going to help you see if you're on track. This is your dashboard in your plane. It's like, okay. Excuse the sound effects. All right. Does it all make sense? Do we have any questions?
We've been answering questions as we go, but I'll open it up to everyone here on the call. If you have any questions, post them in the chat, or did you want to go through any more here, Kim, or do you want to stop sharing and answer any questions?
I'll quickly show this for anyone who, I'll keep it brief because not everybody is into the allocations, but here's why it's important. I used to do this every Monday morning because we had sales every week, we had cash flow every week, and every Monday I'd allocate. So all of our income went in here, and then we'd put it in here. Because who here's ever got to the end of a good month and gone, wow, we had a great month, but there's nothing in the bank account. I don't know where it went. Yeah, we've all had those months and they really suck. You're like, all that hard work, I've got nothing to show. This means that you're always going to have something to show. Let's just say, and again, I'll use my numbers. So let's just say I had 12,000 in the bank account on Monday morning. And let's just say, now you, again, tax you do or don't do. I knew that my tax was 9% after my expenses. It was pretty consistent. I knew that the rest of my tax, if I put around about 10% into terminal tax, I just put those in together. I knew that my COGS stayed consistently at 18% every single month because I was religious. And I knew that my OPEX, I can't remember now what it was, but I have a feeling it was 20%. I'll just say 3,000. I actually can't remember the exact amount now. It's a while since I sold my studio. And let's say I'm putting aside $800 a month just into a marketing budget. And let's just say I actually paid myself through wages with my team. So I actually put all of this through team. So just for transparency there. So let's just say all my team expenses and me, let's just say it came to say 4,000. I don't know if it was or not. I have to go back and look. Well, that probably wasn't the case. So let's bring this down because I don't think we were 3,000, but I have to look. But basically what that does, you put your numbers in there, and what you're going to do is then you go, okay, cool, I've got 12,000 in here, and now these are the numbers that I need to put into these accounts. So that every time you go and order your COGS are already here. Okay, it's already put aside, it's already there.
So this is your envelope system you're talking about.
Yeah, it's based on profit first, but I am not profit first.
Right, okay.
Really basic. Envelope system is a nice way to look at it. And you'll see some have got cards so that you can have your team do it if they need to go on the website. OPEX, you often have, anything goes out automatically. Owner's comp, if you want to put any of your it's up to you whether you want to pay yourself through wages or through owner's compensation. Facebook ads, always keep it a separate account, guys, because if someone hacks your account, you want to make sure there's a limited resource if they get hold of it. And then profit or buffer, depending. I used to call it profit, and after COVID, it became my buffer account. So anyone here who experienced that big drop of income in COVID will know how important it was to have had that buffer there. So all of you should be working towards it, even if it's just a little bit each month. Put something aside for a rainy day. And so that was just how I did it every single month. It was every single week. It was so easy.
Kim, did you have one of those bank accounts where you had these 6 or 7 sub accounts that you distributed, or you didn't literally use envelopes?
No, this was literally bank accounts. My accountant used to shake her head. She's like, why do you have 10 bank accounts or whatever it was? And I was like, well, because. And then as I mentioned the other day, when I sold, it just meant that everything was aligned every single month after month. And the accountants that, went through my books, which is really weird having people go through your books. But they were like, this is weird. We don't see books this consistent. Where did she hide the bodies? But it was simply because of this. But the most important thing for you guys is to know where your money's going, and what those percentages are. You don't have to do an envelope system like this. It's up to you. Okay, but just understanding you're never going to get caught out. And the reason I started doing this is because I got caught out. I was left one day. I had a small team. It was earlier days. And I had these massive bills come in out of nowhere. And I was left with about $1 or $2 in my overdraft for my business account. And I had no bookings. I had no sales, and I had to start from scratch. I cried. I walked on the beach. I screamed at seagulls. I was like, oh my gosh, I've lost everything. What am I going to do? How did this happen? How did this happen? And so that's when I discovered Profit First and started managing it. And luckily for me, within a few weeks, I was fully booked and have recouped the ad spend, and we started making money again, because that was also the point that I got really, really deliberate. And I'd rather you guys didn't get to that moment of literal rock bottom and not be in that panic mode, because it's really horrible. So that's the bonus allocations. All right, let's do questions. Actually, just one thing before we go. Who here, just let me know, who here feels that now they understand the metrics to get to their goals this year, who feels like, yeah, they can actually be more in control? Like it could actually happen. Yeah, you can actually make this happen. Not be at the mercy of luck or having good customers find you. Cool. Perfect. All right, let's dive into questions. I'll stop sharing now.
So yeah, guys, if you have to leave, that's totally fine. There will be a recording available for you, and all the links that we've mentioned here. But if you do have any questions, let's fire them at Kim now. You can use your particular numbers. It could be going back to reference one of the sheets. Anything that we've talked about here in regards to numbers. If you've got a question for Kim, now is the time. Anyone got any questions?
Everyone's shy.
Just quick question, Kim. Hey, Andrew.
Because
Regarding team and virtual assistant, I think I noticed that you had as an optional cell in one of the prior sheets, but how does this translate to the allocations calculator? I guess I'm trying to see.
Yeah. So the team, there in the allocations calculator, there was a wages field. Because I paid my team weekly through wages through a payroll company, and I just put myself through that with them because I like getting money every week. So it was easy. So I would just do it through there. So if you have a team, you no doubt track their hours, and you no doubt have a way that you pay them and put aside their tax or pay the tax however. So for me, here in New Zealand, we pay our wages by the hour, but we also pay 8% for holiday pay. So we have 4 weeks holiday each year that is paid. And so let's say you were working for me and you did 20 hours a week. I would put every week 8% of the amount I was paying you would go into the wages account as well, so that when you took a holiday, your money was already accrued, was already there. So obviously you do need to look at how it can work for you to make sure that you're not getting caught out. Like, we shut down for 4 whole weeks over Christmas. So if I hadn't allocated that money, I was going to have a massive staff bill that just was not there. And that's really painful. Thankfully, I've never had that issue, but I would not want to be in that situation. So make sure that if you're at the point of hiring a team, especially if they're full-time, like they get paid regardless, that you really, really know your numbers, so that, you're responsible for them. And you don't want to, I've seen photographers hire team too early and without compensating for the financial side of it. So obviously make sure you really do your numbers before you do that. If you're hiring VAs, some of them might be full-time, same deal. Others might be on a contract basis. So obviously you can see that there's so many different ways to look at it depending on your business setup. And I just want you to sort of adjust the spreadsheet I've given you today, and the spreadsheets that are coming as well that I've got for you, so that it fits your business model. Like, I've based them on my business model, and that's not going to be 100% the same for everyone. So does that help? Does that answer your question? Awesome.
Terrific. Thanks, Carlos.
Yeah, thank you.
One here from Latonya, and I think this might be, other people might be feeling the same. I'm overwhelmed. I haven't been looking at my numbers at this level or intentionality. So what's the easiest way for Latonya to take the next step? Like, does she go to a CRM if she has one? Does she just go to her bank statements?
Okay, depending on where you are, is it okay if you unmute and jump on, and feel free to share your camera or not? And that way you can ask me a question in full and we can just workshop it a little bit. Is that okay?
Are you happy to do that, Latonya?
Yes, that's fine.
Fantastic. All right. So, which part is the most overwhelming for you right now?
So I kind of was keeping a spreadsheet about, like each booking and how much I earn from each client, but then I wasn't considering all of the other fields on the spreadsheet, like the first page, like the marketing expense, the cost of doing business. So I guess I wasn't looking at it in its entirety, just kind of fragments of what you've provided.
Okay. And what you're doing now, because I also just want to really clarify that, is what you're doing now working for you? Are you making the money that you want to make? Are you where you want to be in your business? And if you are, then I'm going to sort of say that for some people, if doing what you're doing now is working, then don't stress too much. Just maybe improve a little bit over time. Like, don't look at everything all at once. Or where are you on that scale? Are you like, number one, everything's great, and I feel like changing this is going to be like a big brain bleed? Or is it, things aren't where I want them to be, so these are some actions I can take to get there?
So in terms of income, I am happy with the amount of money that I'm earning.
Oh.
What I'm not sure of is how profitable my business is if I'm not considering the amount of money that I'm making versus what I'm paying myself versus cost of doing business. You know what I mean? Because like I could be earning a lot of money, but if my expenses are, overwhelming, or if my marketing budget is too large in conjunction with, the number of leads that I'm booking, like that whole conversion piece kind of matters when you really get into the nit and gritty of it. And I think I don't have all of those answers. So I do feel like this is important. I'm just not sure how to, like this is helpful, but I just wasn't looking at it in this level of detail.
Yeah, got it. And it's really important to know if you're making the profit you need and what contributes to it. So my advice is just each month, just go through. Like the first couple of months, it will be a bit overwhelming because it's unfamiliar. However, the more you do it, the quicker it becomes and the easier it becomes. And just take a little note. You've got the numbers now to track. And so if you just do that each month, just at the end of the month, go into that monthly compass check, spend some time, go through your bank account. If nothing else, go through that and go, and you'll know from your calendar how many shoots you've done. You'll probably know how many shoots you've booked. If you've got a CRM, then hopefully that's tracked in there, but I know not everybody has one or uses that as much. And just start every month, just record it. So the first part is awareness. And once you've got a few months under your belt, so maybe 3 sessions of focused sort of, doing your compass check, then you'll start to see some patterns. And then you'll be able to see how much profit's in your business. And you'll be able to see, oh, wow, actually, I'm not making as much profit as I want after those expenses. Maybe I need to increase my profit or decrease expenses. There's a couple of different ways there. Or maybe you're like, hell yeah, no, I was doing great. I am where I want to be. And that's a confirmation. So rather than guessing, definitely track, but just the basics. Don't go any layer deeper. Don't overwhelm yourself. Once a month, put it in your calendar, block out an hour or so, and then go and have a wine or a cup of coffee to reward yourself and go, yeah, I did the hard thing. Okay. Do you think that would be helpful?
Yeah.
So Kim, just to clarify here for LaTonya and for anyone else that's in the same situation, are you saying open the first sheet of the portrait profit planner?
And so I would go into your monthly compass check. So your numbers for 2025 or the last 3 months, I'd use that as a starting point just to see where you are now. So you could go back through your bank statements, your calendar, whatever information you've currently got. If you don't have it all, don't beat yourself up. Just track what's there now and go, okay, cool, I've got some data and this is my start point. But then every month, just go into your monthly compass check and go, okay, what were my actual outcomes? Okay, and if you just copy that tab and just name it, all in the same sheet, like, March, April, May, you're going to start to see some patterns. And you're going to start to see, I might want to change some of these numbers. But if you're not sure what to change, I would just track it to start with. Get some awareness. Don't put your pressure on yourself to go, oh, I need to go and be a numbers nerd in my business. Just start with the basics. Start with what feels comfortable. And you'll be surprised at how quickly it becomes a habit and how quickly it becomes familiar. One of my lovely clients, I'm not sure if she's still here or not, really has a resistance to numbers. But now we get on a call and she tells me her numbers. I don't have to ask. And because now she's confident, she knows that she can do it and it's making a difference. So that'll be you as well. But just go gently and consistently. If it's really scary, I don't want you to freak out and overwhelm yourself because then you won't do it. I mean, remember I said at the beginning, numbers have to be simple. And one of the ways we can simplify it is put it into a routine. So you just do it for 1 hour a month.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that awareness is going to help you.
So the monthly compass check is the second last tab we covered, or that you covered in the sheet. So that's there for everyone. And so again, just to be totally clear, so instead of going back 6 months or 12 months or 1 month, just start from today or the start of the next month and start tracking.
You can do that. Yeah, if that feels like the easiest way to do it, just track it for the next month and go, okay, well, this is my starting point.
Mm-hmm. Perfect.
But like, I'll use a plane analogy again. You're going to get on a plane at Sydney and you want to go to Perth. Okay, that's just a compass point. But you need to make sure that the pilot knows which way to head, because if he goes east, he's going to end up here in Christchurch. That's not where you want to go. Well, it is actually. It's really cool. Let me know. But you know what I mean? So it's just about being intentional and just tracking the basics.
Cool.
But I do appreciate that at the beginning, it can feel like a lot.
Totally. LaTonya, I'd love to hear how you go. And also don't forget you've got that one-on-one call with Kim as well. So keep us posted. Any other questions here, guys? Any other questions?
Yeah, I have one if that's okay.
Yes, Peter.
Yeah, I was just wondering if you're a studio who does different types of photo shoots, so you might have newborn or boudoir or whatever, and each of those types of shoots has a different average and a different lead to booking conversion rate and a different marketing budget required. Do you have studios who actually take that monthly goals sheet and replicate it for different types of shoots?
Good question, because in my studio, we didn't do boudoir, but we did do pets, newborn, maternity, families. So we did do the variety. However, I still use the same planning process. I knew that my average for all shoots was this, because they all had the same pricing, they all had the same funnel, they all had the same deal. Sometimes I do a separate promotion for newborn, a separate promotion for families, sure. but I would do the planning based on capacity, average sale total. However, I did absolutely have a sales tracking sheet which broke it down, and I could go through at the end of the year and I could tell you that newborns were our highest average. And I could tell you that if, Esther did the booking, it was a better average than if I did it, because she was better at the booking call process. I could tell you that if I did the sales appointment versus one of my other people, I made a higher sale. So there's a lot of things you could track. Knowing the different averages on your different genres is really key, because then it also helps you go, okay, well, if boudoir gets a way better average, maybe I'm going to put a little bit more oomph into that. But then you might also be thinking, yeah, but that's such a big job. It's several hours compared to a cut and dry 30-minute, half an hour, 1 hour family shoot. So you're going to kind of balance your marketing, but you're going to know, okay, and the way I would look at it as well, if you've got most genres are sitting at this average, but you've got one genre, and I'm going to use boudoir as an example, because I actually had this conversation with a photographer who does a couple of things the other day. And this photographer had like a $5,000 average for boudoir and a lower average for families. And I'm like, okay, this is a big job and takes a bit more work. This is your bread and butter. This is consistent. This is your cream on top. This is the bonus. So you can do both, or you can focus your efforts on one. Again, you need to decide what's right for you. And the more you track your numbers, the more you're going to know what to focus on.
Okay, thank you.
Does that help?
It does, thank you.
Awesome.
Peter, can you tell us, which genre is more profitable? Do you know?
Yeah, well, I know that for our studio, the least profitable is pets for whatever reason, and the most profitable is split between boudoir and newborn and family. So I kind of just see a family and a newborn as an excuse to do a family. So
Right.
so the biggest is family overall, and then boudoir, and then at the very bottom, pet.
Okay.
Okay. And sorry. Oh, yeah, you go.
Go, Kim.
Sorry, I get excited about these things.
You go for it, Kim.
All right. So when you're running your marketing campaigns throughout the year, are you targeting different genres throughout the year, or are you just seeing what comes in?
Well, at the minute we're targeting boudoir because the cost per lead is low.
Awesome.
In our market, so that's the only reason for doing that. And then we're every now and then we'll target something like kids because they're 30-minute slots and we want to fill them up, so.
Okay, cool. So you're being deliberate about your marketing, which is what I just wanted to check. Because if you know where the money is, or you know where the consistency is, that's where you put your focus. And if you know that pets are not profitable, you've got two options. You either don't market for pets, decide not to do pets, or you decide to increase. If you love doing pets but you're not getting the results, then you decide to increase the profitability of pets and have a look at why they're not as profitable if you love them. And if you don't like them and they don't make money, don't do them. Just say, I'm sorry, we don't do pets.
Yeah.
You're not wasting your time.
How does that sit with you, Peter?
Say again?
How does that sit with you? Like when you hear Kim say, look, maybe just don't do pets. So is that like, well, no, we love them, or?
No, it sits well with me. It's not that they're not profitable, it's just that the average is lower, so you need to do more of them to make the same amount of money,
Right.
And I think we would be better doing other things mostly. So we'll do the odd one. A pet for me is an excuse to do a family again, but yeah, I'm not going to concentrate on it,
Cool. Excellent. Thanks, Peter. Any other questions, guys, before we close off this call? No. I think we're all good, Kim. Look, massive thanks, Kim, for coming on, sharing everything you have. For anyone here that's on the call that registered for the live training, they have a one-on-one session with you. I'll have details about that in a follow-up email coming soon. Is there anything else we need to let people know, Kim, before we sign off?
So yeah, I've got some bonus spreadsheets because one spreadsheet's not enough, as well as the call booking link, which I'll get to you after the call as well. So definitely do take the time to, just if you've got any questions that you weren't sort of quite brave enough to ask here, definitely come to the call. We'll go through them with you. Other than that, do head on over to Instagram, follow me there. And if you've got any questions, feel free to contact me there. I'm here to make things as clear as possible. So
awesome. And just to clarify, Kim, so with that one-on-one call, should the photographer come with as many figures as they possibly got, or just come with it? Yes.
bring the, because as you know, it's probably going to take a long time to go and get them. and we do have a limited time. So I would say go through the spreadsheet as much as you can, book your call, and then if you've got questions, we'll unpack it. We'll just make sure you're on the right track. We'll create a profit plan if you're not quite sure what that might look like for you, and we'll do a 3-step action plan. So it's pretty rapid fire, but you're going to leave going, okay, I know what I need to focus on. I know if it's overwhelming, you're going to leave knowing the 3 next steps to help you reach that goal.
Fantastic. Awesome. All right, look, thank you so much, Kim. Thank you to everyone that's still on the call. I'll be following up with email and giving you access to everything that you need to get access to. Please stay in touch. Let me know how you go. Let Kim know how you go, especially me. I mean, you're probably going to go and have a call with Kim, but I'd love to know how you go moving forward and how this has helped. If it's helped, if you've implemented what you learned, if it's changed your business, please let me know, because it could be a future interview as well for the podcast, which I'd love to feature you if you make changes as a result of what you learned today. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Kim. We'll leave it there, and we'll talk on email and inside the members Facebook group. Thank you, everyone. See you guys. Bye-bye.
Thanks, guys, for coming and staying. Oh, awesome.